What's cracking, YouTube? Let me go ahead and slide this through your earlobe real quick. So now this video is about how hip hop is not a sport. And this is in retort to a YouTuber who I watch quite often called Screw, or Screwface John. And he often, he recently, in the height of the whole Kendrick versus Drake thing, kind of had a shirt that he was promoting talking about hip hop as a sport and had the number 73 on it. But there's a little bit of problem with this, and it's going to be cleared up a lot more when Tariq Nasheed's microphone check comes out. But for right now, I just want to touch on it a little bit, at least from his part of the spectrum, since I'm kind of coming at him with what I've seen him do, especially in the wake of his own rap battle that he's having with Knox. Now, the first thing is that, what is a sport? Well, a sport is some sort of physical competition. But for the sake of argument, we're just going to say competition in general. All right. So competition in general. So what parts and what aspects of hip hop would be considered a sport? Well, we have some sport-like aspects with rap battles, DJ producer competitions, dance battles, graffiti competitions, trying to tag the most dangerous places, and beatbox competitions. Pretty simple. But what parts and aspects of hip hop is not a sport? You get the whole thing itself: rapping, DJing, producing, graffitiing, beatboxing, and breakdancing in general. The general art form of it is not a sport. These are more like art, because these are artistic expressions. And because it's an artistic expression, it's also, if we listen to KRS-One, he kind of describes hip hop as a culture. You know, the 5 elements of hip hop, like, you know, the rapping, DJing, producing, graffitiing, beatboxing, and breakdancing, all coming together to represent the culture, which hip hop is. Hip hop is a culture. You feel what I'm saying? And he's not the only one who has something to say about like how this kind of, you know, how this all works. You also had another, you know, rapper, you know, coming after him, Mos Def, on his intro on Black on Both Sides. He describes hip hop being the people. It was like, they always asking me, Mos Def, what do you think is going to get ready to hip hop? What do you think is going to get ready to happen to hip hop? He's like, whatever the people, whatever's going to happen with the people. He's like, if we going to be smoked out, hip hop is going to be smoked out. If we're going to be all right, hip hop is going to be all right. They talk like it's some giant living in the house, giant living in the hillside or something, coming to visit the town's people. That's not what hip hop is. Hip hop is not some giant, you know, whatever entity behind, like in front of something, behind people behind the curtain. That's not what hip hop is. Hip hop is the people. So whatever the people are doing, hip hop is going to be doing as well. And then we have a more modern day rapper, Vince Staples, who, he was on the Breakfast Club, and he had an interview where he was talking about what was your brown sugar moment or something? Like, when did you come to love hip hop? And he said, when you black, aka Black American, you don't fall in love with hip hop. It's all around you from birth. That's paraphrasing, but he was like, man, you don't ask nobody about, you don't ask me black, you don't ask any black person about when they fall in love with hip hop. I walked outside and it was there. I was there. It was all around me, man. Like, he was pretty much saying that when you're a black person, specifically Black American, hip hop is all around. It is you. So you have Mos Def saying that hip hop is the people. I mean, you got Vince Staples saying that when you're black, or Black American specifically, you don't fall in love with hip hop because it is all around you from birth. And then Mos Def on this intro on Black on Both Sides saying that hip hop is the cult, hip hop is the people. And then you have KRS-One saying that hip hop is a culture. You put that all together, and what does that mean? Hip hop is an expression of native Black American culture. It is a culture. It is our culture. Hip hop is not a sport. Hip hop is native Black American culture, foundational Black American culture, and American descendants of slave culture. It is our culture. And the way that I can tell is that 73 that's on the back of his shirt about how hip hop is a sport is not the birth of hip hop. I think I've seen a video way back in the day. I'm not back in the day. I seen a video that was set in like maybe 1920s of this Black American man apparently rapping or singing very weirdly to a beat on some show tunes type of tempo. But he was rhyming. He had rhythm and flow, which is funny because that's the name of the rap show that they came out with who was it? Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, and T.I., I believe. I forgot. No, not T.I. T.I. maybe? I don't remember. But I think it was T.I. But yeah, they had a whole rap competition called Rhythm and Flow, which is what this black gentleman back in 1920s had. Fast forward over to the 1940s. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have seen this video by now about these four black men rapping about Noah's Ark. Or at least singing very weird. Like, stop everybody and listen to me. Here's one story that you're going to see about like you can't tell me that don't sound like rapping. Like that sounds like rapping. And then we fast forward another 20 years all the way into I forgot his name, but he made Here Comes the Judge. And he was rapping the entire time on that track. You had people like Rudy Ray Moore, who was like more of like a spoken word, but then again, rap is kind of like a spoken word sometimes. And that's what Rudy Ray Moore was doing as Dolomite with the rhymes, the punchlines. You see what I'm saying? And my last reference is that in, what's it, Kool and the Gang? Hip hop, the hibbit to the hip hop, and you don't stop the ride. Like on that track, one of the rappers specifically said when he was showing his pops a book of his rhymes or something, and he said the pops said, "Hey, never let nobody ever steal your rhymes." Or like your rhymes or something, but he was basically telling them that, we always supposed to, protect our rhymes because that's us. And it's like, it sounds like this has been something that's been happening since before the 1970s, because it is. This is something that has been happening since before the 1970s in Black American culture, especially for Screw. Tell me what Jamaican influence and what African influence was on the creation of hip hop if people were rapping since the 1920s. I want to know where this influence is when black people or black Americans, native black Americans specifically, have been rapping since like the 1920s. What influence did African music and Jamaican music have in America during the 1920s that native black Americans would want to copy it or want to implement it? I will wait. But as we wait, let me come to a close. Our culture is not a sport. And the thing is that as much as he was talking about Knox being a culture vulture, the thing is Knox is a racist culture vulture. That bar about Ahmaud Arbery and whatnot. Like the thing is, like when you're like, when you're a white person or a non-black American person, well, if you're a non-black person in general, you don't get that many times to show that you're a racist. Just like how black people are always, guilty before innocent. Like for everyone else, you're always racist until proven innocent. And you don't get that many chances to show that you're a racist if you're not black. You don't. And Knox showed that he was racist, and he showed his lack of understanding for the culture. So he shows that he doesn't need to be there. But then again, like Screw, you also showed that you have a lack of understanding of our culture because you're saying that it's a sport when it's most definitely not a sport. It's our culture, and you're out here doing the same thing Knox was doing, which is why he said both of y'all are guessing hip hop, because it's true. You're both guessing hip hop. But yeah, anyway, this is everything that I have to say about hip hop not being a sport and hip hop being native black American culture, and our culture not being a sport, our culture actually being something that is our culture, whose people have had their bloodline and lineage muddied because of the act of slavery. If that is not your lineage, then hip hop is not your culture. And if hip hop is not your culture, you will always be a guest, no matter if you're white, Asian, Latino, or black immigrant. If you are not a native black American, hip hop is not your culture. And if it's not your culture, when you come over here and you partake in it, you are only ever a guest. You are never a participant. You are a guest. You're not like a pioneer. You're not like whatever. You don't have the leverage to try to, do whatever you want to do or say whatever you want to say. No, this is our culture. This is what we do. This is us. This is not anybody else. This is just for us. All right. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. Sorry. It was, kind of ranting off a little bit, kind of getting some stuff off my chest, but just how I feel. But maybe you feel differently. Let me know in the comment section below, and we'll get at it. But but anyway, that's all I got to say about it. It's been real. Have a good one. Twices.